everybody, Asian action actor here with another movie review. And today, we're reviewing Rocketman, the movie about Elton John's life. Now, Rocketman is not your usual movie biography, right? It's not a straight up adaptation of the famous pop rock singer's life. It's not a straight up drama at all. It's a very fictionalized, hyper real, and fantastical and exaggerated version of the celebrity's life. It was executed extremely brilliantly, in my opinion. When I saw the trailers for this a couple of months ago, I was like, what is this going to be like? And the exact word that floated around my head the first time I saw the trailer for this was corny. I was like, he's just going to puff himself up with a lot of musical numbers that make him look good, make him and his life and his career and his music and so on look good, you know? And one of the primary reasons I thought like this was that I was not the biggest fan of Elton John. I don't think he's bad. It's just that he was never one of my personal favorites. I first discovered Elton John back in the early 90s when I first learned that he was going to make the songs for The Lion King back when I was a little kid. But after The Lion King, I never really picked up on the rest of his song. Although I do know that he is generally a great singer and he's been consistent for what? Many decades, like 40 years or something. I'm just doing the math quickly in my head. That's probably wrong because I'm a goldfish brain. But yeah, never been a big fan of him, although I do admire his work. So when I saw the trailer for Rocketman the first time, I wasn't the biggest fan. It didn't thrill me because I felt the movie wasn't for me, but I was curious about it. And when the movie came out or was about to come out, the reviews started pouring in and everyone said it was brilliant. It was like almost 100% of Rotten Tomatoes and so on and so forth. And I was like, this movie is actually incredibly good? Well, color me curious, and I wanted to see it. I became really excited to see this movie that I had barely any interest in seeing, blow my mind, because like so many reviews said it would. And let me tell you, boy, Jesus, this movie is amazing. So the movie, once again, is a very fictional version of Elton John's life. Like, imagine if they made Elton John's life into this like stage musical, but like highly adapted for movies, and that's exactly what this is. Like every stage of his life is a musical number based on one of his songs. So if you're a big Elton John fan, and I did some research after after I saw the movie, which is typical of me. I'm a huge nerd. So a lot of the times when a movie really hits me like this, I go online, do a bit more research about the movie itself, about how it was made, about the person it was based on, fact versus fiction, and so on and so forth. So one thing you should know about this movie if you're a big Elton John fan is the songs are not presented chronologically. Like the first few songs made were not necessarily made before the songs that come later on in the movie. The director and producers and so on of the movie have stated that they use the songs that fit the moments that best represented that era of Elton John's life, right? So it's not chronological or anything like that. And that is very telling of how they execute the movie as well. Because the movie is, once again, it's not a straight up biography or documentary about a single person's life from year zero to present, right? From birth to current day. It's about how the singer was feeling emotionally, like how he was processing life in his head. So it's a bit inside outish, that amazing Pixar movie from a couple of years back. It's sort of like that because it's like how this person processes the world around him and how intense his emotions are. And what if all of this was represented in like big musical numbers, like exaggerated stuff, like you see in the trailer, like Taron Egerton is like flying, like he's weightless and so on, right? Speaking of Taron Egerton, the star of this movie, the person who plays Elton John, he does a magnificent job. Like, as a fellow actor, damn, that was a good job. Like, I felt pretty much the same way. Like when I saw Rami Malek last year play Freddie Mercury, that one I had huge expectations with, because I've been a big Queen fan for like a long time, but like seeing Taron Egerton take on this persona of Elton John, like, oh man, his acting is so good. It's so honest and so open. It's so amazing. And also speaking about Bohemian Rhapsody, that movie was amazing first and foremost, but it got a lot of flack from certain critics because it tended to shy away from a lot of the homosexual controversies that Freddie Mercury's life was infamous for. Like, it showed as little of that as possible, and a lot of critics gave it flack for it being sort of cowardly and dodging that issue, so to speak. No critic can say this about this movie, right? So Elton John is gay, right? He's homosexual, and this movie embraces that. It shows like in very intimate detail his relationships with other men, the things they did, and how they acted to each other, and so on and so forth. And the movie's very open about this. And the movie was actually banned in certain countries. Like, I forget which ones, but it was banned in certain countries because of how they portray like intimate gay or homosexual relations throughout the movie and things like that. So the movie's very brave in that regard, and many respects to the filmmakers to not shy away from this topic. And once again, talking about Taron Egerton. So Taron Egerton, I did my research before doing this review. The man is straight, and he embraces this gay character completely. It's like you thought that he was this sort of sexual orientation his whole life. And let me tell you, as an actor, trying to portray someone who has a very different like sexual orientation than yourself while feeling completely genuine is an extremely hard thing to do, especially if you're portraying a real life person, like in this case, Elton John. It is extremely difficult and challenging and requires a lot of focus and training and practice and so on. And goddamn, like Taron Egerton went for it. He was amazing in it, totally convincing, and totally buy that he was Elton John the whole time and so on. So once again, as a fellow actor, all respect to this man. He did a wonderful, wonderful job. Same goes for the rest of the cast. Everyone did a fantastic job. Jamie Bell as Elton John's partner slash songwriter. Bryce Dallas Howard as Elton John's mom, and so on and so forth. The whole cast is amazing in this. Now, going back to the musical numbers and so on, like, how are they? Are they exciting? Will they blow your mind like some of the reviews? And in a word, yes. This movie is extremely entertaining, especially if you focus on like the musical numbers and so on. They are all extremely well done, extremely entertaining, and will hit you where it counts when they need to. The movie's story, once again, is about how Elton John was feeling throughout various stages of his life, from his difficult childhood to his difficulty growing up in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and so on, as a homosexual person, difficulties finding actual relations during that time, his difficulties battling drugs, alcohol, his personal demons, his relationship with his work, with the industry in general, and with other people. The movie is extremely open about all this, and the movie was directed really well. It was directed by the person who replaced Bryan Singer in Bohemian Rhapsody. Let me bring up his name. Dexter Fletcher. So Bryan Singer was taken off of Bohemian Rhapsody, and Dexter Fletcher was the person they got to finish the job, right? And he did a wonderful job. Bohemian Rhapsody is amazing. And so he directs this, and oh man, the direction of this movie is just flat out great. It will, like, even if you know nothing about Elton John, you will feel this man's life story, and you will understand where he's coming from, and you'll just become a fan by the end, like almost guaranteed, because that's what happened to me. So closing thoughts. I mean, I've been gushing about this movie the whole time. So there's really nothing else I can say about it that is like more positives. I'm running out of synonyms at this point, folks. Rocketman's great. If you're old enough to see it and you're open-minded enough about the topics presented in the movie, and if you're a fan of musical movies, go see this movie. It is amazing. Highly recommended. 9 out of 10. It's not quite perfect, but it's pretty damn close. 9 out of 10 for me. Same score I would have given to Bohemian Rhapsody if I reviewed it right now. 9 out of 10. This has been Asian Action Actor with another movie review. If you hung out with me all the way through, I thank you very much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Have a good one, and see you in the next video. Thank you very much, folks. See ya.